What's going on, guys? Evan the Dark Souls enthusiast here, bringing another Dark Souls gameplay commentary on the Xbox. Nope, on the PlayStation 3 actually. In this gameplay commentary I'm going to be introducing my Moonlight Greatsword build and the actual item setup. I'm a big fan of this setup and there's a lot of variation you can make on the fly, but this is just sort of one take on a Moonlight Greatsword build. Obviously starting with the Moonlight Greatsword plus 5 as my primary weapon. In the offhand, which I will be sort of going through here in a minute, the plus 15 Claymore, which is in my offhand so I can buff it with a 10 crystallization catalyst with a crystal magic weapon. Sometimes I need a little more range and damage output than the Moonlight Greatsword provides, and that's what the plus 15 Claymore is for. The 10 crystallization catalyst is obviously the strongest catalyst ever, which is a big deal when you're trying to buff your stuff. A good secondary option is Logan's catalyst. Then Silver Knight Shield plus 5 is probably the strongest medium shield in the game. There's some other things in the inventory we'll go through at the end. Crown of Dust for the increased sorcery damage. I'm not too concerned about the weakness and I don't want to wear a family mask. Armor of Thorns. The Armor of Thorns is sort of specific in this build in that I wear it so that I can get a little roll damage on people, which actually works to break their poise a little bit, and it can prevent backstabs. If you damage someone with a Thorns roll, they can't actually backstab you. At least that's been my experience with it. That could be false. I'm not exactly sure about the physics behind it, but I do know that if you hurt each other at the same time, the damage is negated. Havel's Gauntlets are just here as a concession to needing additional poise for the weight. I know people don't like to see Havel's parts on your set, but I'm only wearing one piece, and I finish off with the Dark Leggings. For those of you that don't know, the Dark set has the best poise to weight ratio of any of the non-stamina draining armors. And of course, the Ring of Favor and Protection, sort of a tricky choice, but I think it's the best choice on the Moonlight Greatsword because you don't really need any of the other rings, and Hornet's Ring is more for S-Stocks and Bandit Daggers. This is a good overall choice, and I think if you're not using something that's designed to backstab as much as possible, then you're better off with a Ring of Favor and Protection over a Hornet's Ring. In my item bar you'll see, Humanities for heal, Estus Flask for blocking heals, grass, etc. We have a second Moonlight Greatsword in the inventory in case you break the first one by throwing energy blasts and waves. You have the Claymore for buffing. You have the Zawandi as an alternative choice for buffing. You have to two-hand the thing, which is a big problem when you're wearing the Thorns set, because if you roll into somebody, you'll ricochet off them because of the way the game is coded. It's bad news bears. But the weapon itself does so much damage with Crystal Magic Weapon, and it's good in those 2v1 situations where you just start swinging and hoping. Chaos S-Stock is for people that have Greater Magic Barrier or something like that. Fish for backstabs. Grass Crest Shield, because sometimes I just need to run while I'm in the forest, because I wind up in like 3v1 situations where I just have to run away and try to get the jump on people. Of course, here's the stat layout. These can be probably tweaked a little bit. I got 16 Dexterity, which is significantly more than you need on a Moonlight Greatsword build, but 16 is the breakpoint for Velka's Rapier, and I'm a big fan of Velka's Rapier. And of course, Crystal Soul Spear and Crystal Magic Weapon are our only spells. We have 4 attunement slots for 2 stacks. And here you'll see the damage on my weapon. As you can see, the damage on the Crystal Claymore is actually very high, and the moveset on the Claymore is great for this build because it's very similar to the Moonlight Greatsword, so you don't have to sort of switch your mindset between 2 different kinds of attacks. But on the flip side, the rolling attack has that nice poke, which I can't talk about how great it is. And the Zawandi also in the inventory provides a nice backup plan against opponents who are stacking a lot of poise, and well, not a lot, but rather if you think they're not at the 72 breakpoint, I believe it is, to survive a one hit from a Zawandi without getting hit stunned, then you can just kind of swing away, and it's pretty nice. So highly recommend it. Now we're going to go into some sort of PvP matches. The first couple are just people that invaded me and I sort of whooped them. So jump into that. This guy here, he kept waiting on top of the stairs and he just refused to get out of my way. I guess he wanted every advantage possible in his invasion. So he wastes a fireball here because there's really no way that can hit somebody unless you have like godlike throwing skills, which he clearly does not. I don't think this guy has godlike skills for anything. Come up here and backstab him. Never cast Pyromancy that close unless it's Great Combustion. Lag kick him off the ledge there, and I was pretty upset it didn't just outright kill him. I thought that would have been a cool way to end it, and then I barely missed my falling attack and he manages to flask up. Then I'm up in this situation where We've both been injured. He's popping humanities to heal still, so I'm going to go ahead and flask. Now we're both at full life, and we're going to jump right into it. Looking at his build, I know I'm pretty much advantaged. He has the Black Knight Great Axe, and he's probably going to try to walk into me and backstab me, because that just seems to be the kind of player this guy is. As you can see, he's already trying to sneak up on me. One-handed swinging due to the fact I accidentally swapped to it. And the chip damage on the Moonlight Greatsword's great. It chips through a shield guard really well, so chip him out and bring him down. I sort of wanted to taunt him, so I did. I just cannot stand when people do annoying strategies. Then while I'm just walking around the Darkroot Garden, I get my world cursed by a Gravelord's Covenant member, and I'm fighting these, like, red phantom stone giants, which deal well over 1,300 damage a hit. Pretty nuts. I've never actually been, I very rarely am Gravelord's Curse near any powerful enemies. It's normally, like, zombies and boring enemies like that, so it's pretty exciting to get cursed by, like, big dudes like this. So I'm going to go ahead and... I can see they're lined up, so since Crystal Soul Spear pierces, I go ahead and let them have it and bring them all down safely. Since I'm in human form, I'd really rather not die. Of course, with 34 humanity stock and inventory, I'm not terribly worried. Now, these guys have a ton of life. They're also harder to hit stun than their non-phantom brethren, I guess. So I thought I'd include that on the video to show you guys what it's like when your world is cursed. You can definitely run into some really powerful enemies. If you're really fortunate, you wind up getting cursed by the Gravelord's Covenant when you're in the Kiln, because then you get to see the Black Phantom Black Knights, which are extremely powerful. Now I'm on a quest to find the Gravelord's Curse, which I assume will be near the bonfire, because it often is, and opt out of summoning help, mainly because he had a family mask. I won't summon anybody that has a family mask on. It's just not really my thing. I think the family masks are obviously the most powerful helmet in the game, and I just like to see some variety in the helmets. There's nothing wrong with using the family set, it's just they're ugly and just, you know, equip a family mask and make any character better. So if you're looking to make the optimal builds, you probably shouldn't watch my videos, because on all but one character I opt out of the family mask plan, and I only wore the family mask because it was absolutely necessary for the sort of stock Black Knight Great Axe build, which by the way is a really fun build and it's easy to use, which is a great place to start PvPing. If you're trying to get into PvP and you want to do something that's not real hard but effective, Black Knight Great Axe is a great place to start. A lot of people that PvP a lot know how to counter it rather easily, but with that said, it's still really easy to use and you'll get plenty of wins just by mashing the R1 attack. And while learning to PvP, it can be frustrating to lose every single match. So, recommend starting with something easy like Moonlight Greatsword is also a great weapon to start with. The moveset's really easy to use, like a Claymore. Elemental Zawandier, Elemental Claymore. Sort of touched on this in the video because a lot of people have been asking me via private message, what's a good weapon to start practicing my PvP? Well, I would have to say elemental builds, primarily Zawandier type builds. I don't recommend buff stuff. The buffing builds are very powerful, but I think they're more of an advanced build to get used to timing your buffs and chasing people down when they're trying to wait out your buffs. Stuff like that. Just simpler to stick with Vitality Gouge Elemental because there's a lot less room for error. With that said, Moonlight Greatsword is another strong choice because all the R2 attacks are very powerful and relatively easy to use, helpful, etc. And obviously the Claymore is probably the easiest weapon to use in the game, which naturally has almost the same moveset as the Moonlight Greatsword. Ease of use is an important consideration when you're making a character, more so than people really give it credit for, and since a bunch of grasses are dropping off these guys, I decided I'd go ahead and pop my grass just so they wouldn't go to waste. Then I see my invader here, and I'm very concerned about the stone giant in the back because the stone giant can and does often cast Tranquil Walk of Peace, and if I get tranquiled with this guy right in front of me, he'll probably get like a free backstab on me, which will do a tremendous amount of damage. I wasn't really looking to be invaded right here. The enemy smacks me there, but I get to Moonlight him back and then engage him again. This is, we're just going to sort of go at it here. This guy, I'm not really sure exactly what his build is because this guy gets a ton of backstabs on me and it really doesn't work out. They just don't hurt that bad. He must not have a Hornet's Ring, which is fine, you know, I respect that. And I'm doing the terrible running attack, the I really don't like when you run in your guy does like the 360 spin with the sword. It usually leaves me open to getting attacked. And this guy's basically just trying to walk behind me to get backstabs over and over, which is, all in all, a pretty good strategy. And I know he's going to trap Pop of Humanity here, but I don't get him in time, so he manages to get the heal off. I do sink a thing into him and damage him. Now we wind up in a weird situation where he catches me in my heal and manages to get the backstab on me. So I try to put some trees between he and I, and backstabs me again. The flask is really powerful though, and I'm really able to just keep flasking wherever I need to. He's finally two-handing it. You typically want to two-hand that weapon. It's much more powerful two-handed than one-handed. And every time you backstab him, he gets closer and closer to killing me. Then he randomly switches out to the Great Scythe Elemental. I'm not real sure what prompted that change, but it's fine. I think he would have been better off with the axe, because this weapon leaves you open. Using the scythe is really important that you get, the Great Scythe rather, is really important that you get your distance right. Then he backstabs him for about the same damage as on the Black Knight Great Axe. He turns Pops of Humanity while I'm on the ground, which is a terrible choice because it just lets him get hit stunned into oblivion, sort of ending that match. Random invasion there, but I wanted to include it mainly because of the Black Phantom enemies I encountered. This is a long string of matches. I think they're roughly 20 minutes long, so I might struggle to find things to talk about. My brain is already just sort of fried from the homework I previously mentioned and other commentaries, but that's fine. I'm finally getting ahead on it. I've got to write probably a 5-page paper tonight and some stuff like that. I need to do 2 finals, basically all by Thursday, so as long as I do a final a day, won't be that bad. I don't have class until Thursday, so I've got lots of time to get it done. I just don't particularly want to. In any case, I decided I'd include some Kiln. This character prefers to PvP in the Forest just because I've spent so much time in the Kiln on other characters. I wanted to PvP in a different environment, even if it is less like Manor, I guess. But I went ahead and did some matches in the Kiln. I actually came here because I'm trying to get the All Miracles trophy on the PlayStation 3. Yes, I have a spare Lord Gwyn soul just laying around. But unfortunately, I've sort of run into the issue where I have to have 25 faith to join, or I have to do some co-op to lower the requirements to join it, and I can't find any co-op. Because I'm soul level 125, I have to go to like sort of in-game areas to find people at that level. And whenever I get summoned in the Kiln, it's always like a host and another phantom just trying to beat up on invaders, and I don't like to do that, so I usually stone out the minute I get summoned into those 3v1 camping situations. But it's really hard for me to find anywhere to co-op and get my Sunlight medals and lowering the requirements to get a Sunlight Spear. Of course, I can't actually cast Sunlight Spear, but I just wanted to have it in order to get the trophy, because I don't think I'll ever make a Faith character on PlayStation 3 since I already have a Faith character on the other system, Xbox 360, of course. But one thing of interest is I did find some old saves on my PS3. One is actually a fairly leveled Faith caster, which I'll never finish, and one is, surprisingly, a somewhat leveled elemental gouge character using like Zawandi Air. It's not finished, it's like soul level 60, but I think it's got a maxed out Pyro Flame already and stuff like that, so I might finish that character out real quick. One thing I really want to do, and unfortunately I don't have any templates saved on my PS3, and I don't want a bottomless box glitch to get it done, but I'd really like to make a hardcore pyromancy PvP, like pure pyromancer with like a lightning anything on the side in case they're stacking fire defense. I think that'd be pretty neat, and I have a build in mind in my head, but I don't really want to share it in the video until I make it, so at least there's like a video demonstration of it in action. So that's just a thought. I don't know if it'll ever actually happen. There's actually finally some games coming out that I'm really going to get into and put on this channel, so soon we're going to start breaking into some other games again. I know I've already posted other gameplays in the past, like the occasional Call of Duty and stuff like that, but I think Dark Souls has become sort of the focus in the channel, particularly recently. And this guy decides he's going to make a run for it to try to pop the humanity, but Crystal Soul Spear catches him. I actually meant to bow, and I wound up actually doing the sort of facepalm taunt, which was an accident. So if you're watching this video, man, my apologies. Nothing personal. Grab a little humanity here. It's harder for me to edit these videos when I'm the one waiting to get invaded. And the reason I no longer invade is, A, I don't have access to a red soapstone. Well, correction, I have access to a red soapstone, but I don't have access to a red eye orb. I can use cracked orbs, but they're kind of expensive, and I don't really like to go back to the Primordial Serpent, Kate, to keep stalking them, so it's just easier for me to get invaded. Plus, when I'm the one being invaded, I know I'm not gonna like enter a 3v1 situation, and since this will probably be the only video where I actually PvP in the Kiln with the Moonlight Greatsword, this is fine. I noticed in some of the other Dark Souls PvP uploaders, they often edit out the names of the people that invade to respect their privacy. I noticed I haven't been doing that. I had the technical expertise to do it, but it's not like anyone's real name is popping up on here, and I don't think anyone's going to watch my videos and start friend-adding every single person they encounter in my videos, so I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Am I really obligated to start blopping out names? I don't know if I will, but I would be interested to hear the thoughts of everyone watching these videos. It would delay my ability to upload videos because it would take time to edit all that out. This guy has a Grass Crest Shield, which has very poor magic defense, so I can chip right through it really easily, which is one of the biggest advantages of using the Moonlight Greatsword, is the fact that it has tremendous chip damage against 90% of the shields in the game. Doesn't chip that well against a Crest Shield, obviously, or a White Knight Shield, because they both have pretty reasonable magic defense, and they're both a common shield to encounter, but whenever you wind up to like a Grass Crest Shield, you get to chip that really hardcore, and you get to chip the Black Knight Shields pretty well. Some odds ends. Having good chip damage is great, because it sort of negates my need for a shuttle, and also having the magic option through the Soul Spears. And this guy just plows me. I'm not sure what weapon that is, but it has, I think that might be the Great Lord's Greatsword, but I'm not sure. It's not a Claymore, I don't believe. So, yeah, I think it's a Great Lord Greatsword. If you guys know, hit me up in the comments. I'd really like to make a Great Lord's sword build too. Not necessarily the greatest build, because you have to put a lot of points into stats to raise the damage, but it seems to have a lot of poise damage. Factoring the amount of poise damage on weapons is really important, because people like to stack poise and just sort of, like, basically slugfest you to death, and or tank one of your hits and backstab you, which is pretty common to see in a lot of PvP videos and stuff like that. So, making character builds to counter things like that is definitely a viable idea. Which one of the reasons Pyromancy is so great is because when people try to roll or glitch, or not glitch, but when people try to roll behind you and things like that, they usually wind up getting dead angled by the Pyromancy. And I'm not sure what happens there. I get him once, and then he just plows me. It's likely he's stacking far more defense and poise than I am, so I should have avoided the slugfest with him, but I didn't, so I went down. A couple matches here, I start buffing my weapon because I realized while I was getting footage for this video commentary, I hadn't really buffed my Claymore at all, which sort of raised the question, why are you making all these concessions in your build to have wait for a Claymore? So I'll start trying to buff my Claymore in some of these matches. Some people don't give you the chance, and I don't mean they give you a free buff, I just mean they don't give me an opening to buff it, but that's okay. That's why the Moonlight Greatsword build is also so nice as compared to a Crystal Magic Weapon build, which is, 33 intelligence or 34 intelligence. I'm not sure how much intelligence you need for Crystal Magic Weapon. I know it's like, I think it's actually 32. But regardless, whatever intelligence you need to do it, that's something to think about. And of course, this guy is like running like a naked, like no Darkwood Grain Ring, really neat build. But unfortunately, when you're not wearing any kind of armor for poise, if I roll into you, it'll hit stun you, because without poise, this armor actually hit stuns you. So he quickly swaps into Giants, which was a good choice. Unfortunately, he does not have a Darkwood Grain Ring, so he can't really roll out of these attacks, and I catch him in a combo for 2,000 damage through my Crystal Magic Weapon buffed Claymore. He goes down. Excuse me, I can hear my voice cracking a little bit. I didn't bring water to the computer when I started commentating, so kind of stuck with my voice being the way it is. I apologize. These longer PvP videos are actually harder to do. You start feeling like you're pressured to keep talking and stuff like that, and you don't want awkward silences in the middle of your commentary. So, in the future, I'm probably going to start doing more uploads, but of less time, like 15-minute uploads. 15, maybe less, 10, 15-minute uploads. I don't know. Start rotating through weapons more. I think people get a little bored of seeing the same weapon every single time, but to some degree, these are weapon demonstration videos. I want people, if you're going to invest the time to make a build, particularly without the bottomless box glitch, I want people to see the kind of moveset they're getting into, the kind of damage it's going to do in PvP and its viability. So that's why I like to try to do a variety of popular weapons as opposed to unpopular weapons. I know a lot of people have been requesting like a Velka's Rapier PvP video. I'll put that out there for sure, but I just want to throw this out there. Velka's Rapier isn't particularly good. I'm fortunate there, the guy takes advantage of my jumping attack and gets the backstab on me. But unfortunately his buff runs out right at that time, which really sort of neuters the backstab damage. Convenient for me. And then he unfortunately walks right into Crystal Soul Spear. That's why I don't recommend spamming Crystal Soul Spear at the start of the fight 9 out of 10 times, because you sort of telegraph the kind of build you're using. Whereas if you don't fire it until like mid-match, people don't know that you have Crystal Soul Spear. They kind of just assume you're maybe a Crystal Magic weapon buff build, or you're just a Moonlight Greatsword build with very few or no attunement slots. Stuff like that. It's sometimes good to keep your opponent in the dark about what you're doing. Part of me wants to just stick an elemental weapon on the offhand and then go back to Logan's Catalyst. That way I have more casts, so I can sort of throw those in more. And also, it'd be nice to be able to cast Chameleon stuff. For those of you that don't know, because Crystal Magic Weapon halves your casts, it's just really inconvenient for like the support magic, which doesn't benefit from the extra power. Of course, there's Oclasile's, oh, that's not pronounced, I'm sorry. Olysisiel's Catalyst, which is the lightest Catalyst and the best for casting support spells, but because this character also casts Offensive Magic and Crystal Magic Weapon, I'm sort of forced to use 10 Crystallization Catalyst for the optimal build, so we'll see what happens. This build's flexible, which is why I highly recommend a Moonlight Greatsword build, is because you can tweak it and use a lot of different things, like you can use magic and enchanted weapons in your inventory and stuff like that, so a lot of different ways to do it. This guy in PvP in here, I actually think he's pretty good. I'm trying to let his buff wear out because I didn't get a chance to buff my weapon, and I know his weapon will outdamage mine, because Dark Moonblade, if you're +3 in the Covenant, does such a tremendous amount of damage, hence why I'm just waiting for that buff to run out, because my weapon does not outrange his, and he has enough poise to take hits and just keep swinging back. I decided to try to set up a trap where I'll hit him with that, and I luck out, and his Dark Moon Blade enchantment runs off on his Morocco right when he managed to get the backstab, which happens a lot, and he keeps catching me in my rolls for the backstabs. That's something I need to respect more, is the fact that you can get hit in rolls. I know he's going to try to fish for a Wrath of God, so I try to Soul Spear him, and Wrath of God just deflects it right over my head. Pretty rare to see, but it's cool when you see a Wrath of God deflect a projectile. And I go to lag stab him, and he goes to lag stab me, and we basically lag stab each other, and then he catches me with his running attack, and I go down. Pretty decent duel, really, and then I dried finger because I want a rematch, and Lord and behold, right when I dried fingered, I get a rematch, so this will be the closing video, and he free buffs, and I'm like, well, this time I'm going to buff. So I go to buff, but I realize he'll catch up to me before my buff completes, and he'll probably backstab me for near instant kill if he has a Hornet's Ring, which I don't think he does, but I'm not sure. Either way, he's, you know, he would have caught me, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to go for it. I kind of run into a slugfest with him, but he manages to hit me once, which almost kills me. So we exchange a couple hits. He seems almost like a glass cannon build because he doesn't have that much life. So I start rolling back, and he literally goes under the Soul Spear, charges in for the running slash, and gets Soul Spear in the face for the win. So I was pretty proud of that victory, and it was a good one to end on. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary, and thanks for watching. In the future, I'll be bringing more PvP videos, and look how many souls you get for PvP. That's just ridiculous. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see everyone next time.